Welcome to Conversations With. My name is Shaley Hoogendoorn, and I live with bipolar 2 disorder. Sharing with others is healing, both individually and collectively. Sharing our stories will educate others, bring more understanding, shed more light, and smash more stigma. Our voices need to be heard. Our stories aren't over yet. This is bipolar. Hi, everyone. Just before we start the show, I wanted to let you know that some of these episodes are the episodes called Going Deeper. I started recording them a year and a half ago, not sure if I was going to start a Patreon, and then subscriptions came along on Instagram, and I decided that the subscribers are going to get these episodes 4 weeks before everybody else. But I have a whole backlog of them. So I wanted to start sharing them with you all. They are inspiring and powerful and interesting and brave. And what I love about it is that there is an episode telling this person's entire story. And then we do the going deeper on a specific topic. And so when these come up, I really encourage you to go back and watch the original Conversations With episode with each of these guests, and then going deeper, because you might get confused, or you might just want to know more about them. And so another thing is, you might hear language like Patreon, or you might hear me say, we just recorded, or the last recording, because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them at the time. And so I'm so excited to get them out there. I will be probably putting up around one a month. And so this is what I'm going to share with you. Take care of yourself, take some deep breaths, and let's go deeper together. This is bipolar. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I just did an amazing interview and learned all about Lee from @benefits_of_bipolar. I got it. And heard his entire story. And we're going to do our exclusive episode right now about how Lee started his advocacy, where that led him. And I'm really excited because I don't know all of the things either. So Lee, before we get started, could you just introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, so Lee Formella, she already said where you can find me. Basically I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder a little over 4 years ago, almost 4.5 years ago. Basically just love spending as much time with my family and friends. The few that I have, you got to be careful with those. The older you get, got to make sure, no, but I do spend a lot of time online talking to people, from sharing my story. Yeah, it's just trying to stay stable. Like that's what a lot of a lot of our energy goes into staying stable, eating healthy, working out, doing all the right things. So
I love that. I love that. And if you go back and listen to the episode, he tells us so many nuggets of goodness that if you're
I don't want to repeat everything again.
No,
awkward, like kind of saying.
No, I want to hear. So I want to hear when did you decide you were going to start sharing online? What was like the catalyst for that? And tell me how it went.
I would encourage people, if they want a good laugh, to go back to the beginning of my feed. But I'll get to that in a second. My girlfriend and I just did it yesterday. It hurts. Like it hurts.
I'm going.
You really should. But anyways, I'll get into that, what that actually looked like in a second. So it really started once I started finally doing a little bit better. It was probably about a year and a half ago, 2 years, or yeah, probably a year and a half ago. So it was heading into the summer, fall of 22. And I was like, okay, I think I'm doing a little bit better. Now what? It was the first time in my life that I had time in my head and in my day to consider what else I might want to do. That wasn't requiring like being freaking out about what I was going to do next, or I said something wrong in the previous conversation, or was I going to freak out at work that night, or whatever. So I finally had a little bit of time, and I was like, what do I want to do? I want to do something. I want to help. I'd like to know more and see if I can help other people with bipolar disorder, but I was still at a complete loss, right? No idea. I had never been involved in any kind of community events, organizations, anything, because that would have required leaving the house sober. Never was going to happen. I started talking to my girlfriend and my psychiatric APMP, and fortunately, she knew or was well familiar with NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness. And that was the Fox Valley affiliate by me there in Wisconsin. And I was like, all right, sure. Do you have anybody? And she's, no, I don't really know anybody, but just reach out and email. I'm like, okay, fine. So I probably waited another couple months before I built up the courage to send an email to them and say, hey, I live with bipolar and I want to help a little bit. They said, yeah, we would like more people to share their story. And so I was like, really? So you want me to speak in front of people? That's what you get. Okay. Sounds good. So that November, September, October, I started writing my story. I actually wrote it in Madison. I went back down there. My girlfriend was there. Wrote it in the old Union that I went to school in, that I like was the scene of all
Cool.
my chaos, and it was really like cathartic, and so it was really cool. So that makes you feel a little bit better. And then I actually went through a major depression, and like it was the worst one that I'd gone through in years. So this is
Mm.
December of 22. No, November of 22. It was right around Thanksgiving. Kind of some family stuff happened, and I was in those like suicidal thought patterns, just really didn't think I was ever, was like, wow, if this can happen now again after I've been feeling better,
Yeah.
what the hell's the point? I mean, but that turned into what do I have to lose? So
Mm.
because I was already writing my story, but a year before that, I bought a website on Google, benefitsofbipolar.com. Because even
Nice.
as far back as there, I was like, maybe I can write something and make it sound better than it is. It's bipolar, but maybe there's something good about it. Who knows? I
Yeah.
still didn't have any idea. So December of 22, I was like, all right, I'm going to write a blog. So I designed my little website at Google and wrote a blog post. And then how's anybody going to find my blog?
Yeah.
I jumped on Instagram and followed a couple of people, and I'm like, I guess maybe I could try a post. So that brings me back to the start of this.
Yes.
I'll go back to December, I think like 10th or something, 2022. You will see the first of a handful of posts that were created on either my phone notes app or Microsoft Word. And by Word, whatever the Google version of like Google Docs.
Nice.
That's how I was creating posts because I didn't know anything. So one of them is this like Venn. Yeah, they're so bad. But the first one I'm so proud of because it was super vulnerable. And I got I was terrified. I don't know what it was like for you the first time you posted. Nobody in my life really knew I had bipolar disorder other than those close to me. So I was putting it out onto public. And so the minute I hit that, and it's, oh, all of a sudden you get people saying, holy cow, that's incredible. That's incredible that you said that. Or, hey, I actually know somebody. Or, wow, if you need anything or whatever. So I was like, okay, that didn't go horribly. So my girlfriend introduced me to Canva and made the first couple of posts for me. And then I was like, okay, but I want it like this, but I want it like this. So then I took over the Canva and started making my own
Yeah.
posts. And then I shared my story twice. The first two times I shared my story. But before that, I was like, ooh, how am I going to get practice? How am I going to get practice? Well, I guess I'll make a video. So if you go back to that time about January, February, you see my first couple reels, which are also, they're still not great. Shaley, like I don't do all the beautiful editing you do. And I just talk and say what I think is valuable information or something that might resonate with people. Back then, I was even really bad at that. So if you want to laugh, go watch the first couple ones of those as well. Just watch the first like 10 posts on my page at all were just unbelievably terrible, but they kept getting better. People kept reaching out. And I'm glad I made those videos because then the first time I talked in front of a room full of people, I felt a
Yeah.
little bit better. And
Yeah.
so it was just this weird like F it. I have nothing to lose. I applied for jobs and just I never was able to get work figured out.
Yeah.
Always just disappointment. I ended up working in bars, which is fine for a lot of people, but I knew it wasn't good for me and my routine, and I just didn't want to be doing it anymore. And that's it. The best thing I ever did because from that point forward, everything I've done since then has been new. everything I've tried has been new, and every single thing has been rewarding. It's the best decision I ever made. I used to be super embarrassed telling people that I have an Instagram account, and that's where I talk to people, and that's where my community of people is. And now I tell other people they should get one if they're at all interested. And because if you curate it the right way, you get a lot of really good information. You can get a lot of really positive information, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And so at first I just wanted to be a part of that, and I'm glad I did. It just all just was totally organic. When I think the first 3 months or so, I had under 90 followers. And so
Yeah.
it was just like, literally just like, okay, this is fun. The 2 people that I haven't talked to in 5 years that are following me, it was worth
Yeah.
it. And then all of a sudden a friend from college reached out. I'm like, this is so worth it. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? So sometimes it's hard, right? Too, because our brains just, everybody likes recognition or whatever. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, when you don't grow or things like that happen, sometimes you can feel like, oh, why am I doing this? And even though I was always like for the one, once it started growing, you get like into the growing.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend saying, because the other day, I don't know why, I was comparing myself to something else. And I was like, ugh, I'm never, all the things. And she said, okay.
That's you for a lot of people. If that makes you feel better, you're that person to a lot of people, Shaley. So that just know that right now. A lot of people are comparing themselves on their page and their everything to you.
Oh, that means
Take
a
that
lot. I will remember that. I'm going to tuck that away in my heart.
Please do.
Yeah. And so she said, okay, let's Google a few places that hold the amount of followers you have. Even like you said, 90 people in a room having 90 people's ear, right? Even if they only look at it once or twice, that's a lot of people. And then I have a little bit more than that. And we look,
I have more than that now, but not nearly as many as you.
but
humble brag.
But so don't worry about it.
But that's why.
We looked up and it would fill the stadium in Vancouver. And my friend sent me that, and she's, don't take your stuff off the internet.
No.
And I was like, oh, okay. Or one person was upset with me. I don't get much hate on the internet, because usually when you share something like that, you don't, sometimes bots, but I have a few holistic folks that claim cure. I've had some trouble with some holistic
healers
lately.
Cures.
Yes, the cures, and then making it not safe for my followers by every post asking them, you could feel different, DM me. And so I've had to have hard conversations, and I'm not very good at blocking people, but I've had to put some boundaries. And I was ruminating over that, and she's like, okay, picture your stadium. That is 2 people. I was like, oh yeah. Okay. It's okay. Like it's the criticism or whatever. Like I'm like, I'm not going to hold on to that. I'm going to hold on to the other besties that I've made. And so I don't know what even started that, but that is my story.
I love it.
I'm not lost in that story, but yes.
See, and I finally got my first couple of trolls on YouTube, because I put up a short, like a 15-second video that was literally like, hey, if you're having a hard time as a man finding a girlfriend, or you keep having issues with them, like, the secret.
Yeah. Yes.
And a couple of gentlemen on there decided that they had their opinions. And one of them was like, always, that was his name. And my response was just, sometimes it's all in a name. Yeah. Fine, this information might not be for you. I wish you all the best. Yeah. So I find one little way of getting a little positive pipe in, and then you just say, hey, thanks for coming. If you ever want to talk it through, let me know.
Yeah, totally. I love that.
Sometimes you just got to block the healers, because I really don't like that. I really don't like that, because I've listened to Dr. Gabe Howard and Dr. Nicole and their podcast, and I love it. And anybody who asks, no, it's not curable. Yeah. There's not a freaking regimen we can go on, or we would all be on that regimen and none of us would be taking medication. Yeah.
And all the big business will have bought it. If there was a cure, it would probably be on the shelf in Walmart. I'm just saying.
if I have to buddy up with big pharma to feel the way I do, I'll sleep right next to them.
Yeah, it's true, because it's the proof is there for the thousands of people that I talk to that take medication, and it isn't a cure, right? I had someone, I was speaking to a bunch of educational assistants about children that with mental health disorders, and she was like, but you take the medicine, how come you still get? And I was like, that's one thing that's really hard for people to understand. It helps, but it doesn't take it away. It's not like Advil. It doesn't, we are probably going to have in some way, some kind of episode again, or symptoms. And so I just, and do I think that I take vitamins? I do. It's not that, it's just, I do that, but I'm not cured. Like those were those cured words. And also too, generally when I look into it, they're trying to sell you something. And I have been tricked. You're so desperate. I like thousands of dollars on naturopathic things that didn't work, that made me feel bad about myself, because these people are telling me it's going to work, then I just must be a screw up. And so we're actually pretty vulnerable.
It's just negative messaging. It's you're not, you can't do it on your own. I'm doing great on my own, actually. I'm gonna figure it out. Like, you're not better than me.
Super harmful. Yeah, it's super harmful. And
Well, we got derailed there. Sorry, but that's
no, I think it's important because I think watch this. I'm going to tie it back. You're going to be wowed.
Love it. Do it.
So that ties back into sharing your story. There are going to be some people out there that don't love you or might say some things, but honestly, the small amount of people for the great amount of healing and benefits of bipolar. See that? See what I did there?
It's a benefit. It's a benefit. We found one for all those people who say there aren't any. There are some.
Yeah, so it brings it around.
Tiebacks.
Did you like that? I was really impressed with myself. Thank you so much. I think too, one thing people see is they're like, oh, you guys are speaking on stages or telling the interwebs. And I tell people advocacy is telling one person that didn't know.
Absolutely. Yes. Have the hard conversation. One or just one, like, advocate for yourself.
Yep.
Somebody says something that they're assuming you're bipolar, you must be. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
At times. Yeah. Teach people things. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah. That's all we're trying to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of us are just to put it online for all to see for literally no reason most of the time.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you're so brave. You're doing stuff for other people. And I'm like, yeah, but the secret also is I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for me. I didn't have any folks around me that lived with bipolar disorder, knowing that there's other people out there. The power of the Me Too, when someone says me too, or I get it, or I too have bought money on ridiculous hobbies and spent my savings on, right? And I can actually laugh, because I don't want people that don't understand to laugh at me, but me and you, we can have a good laugh about the ridiculous things we've done.
Yes. I'll even let you judge me a little bit. That's okay. I'll let you, but nobody else can.
Yeah,
exactly.
But
it is nice because it's nice. I can say to you, I said some really terrible shit to my family, and you'll understand. I'll say that to a neurotypical person, like, oh, we all have. And I'm like, really? You've called your dad a...
Yeah.
Like,
oh.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I did, like, for 10 years. Not all the time.
No.
Also told him I loved him and I was sorry.
Yeah, it is. And I think what people don't understand, sometimes I wish so much my illness would have a physical symptom of bleeding, because people are going to find sympathy for that. But people don't find sympathy for anger outbursts.
No, I agree. I always feel bad saying that because it feels, but it's true.
Yeah.
If there was a physical descriptor way of it showing, we would all be treated entirely differently.
Exactly.
But it's because they can't see it, they can't understand it. And for some people, thank God, not all. And we have so many allies that care so deeply and learn so hard. And the amount of family members who reach out, I love too, because that just shows how much they care, how deeply they care, and how deeply they want to understand. But you can't unless you're in it.
Unless you've experienced it. Yeah.
So I love that.
So true. Yeah, it does. It that's what I try to explain to people. And then it makes it even more complicated because, and yet we also have to take responsibility, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes,
it's not our
absolutely.
fault. And yet I can't just go off, right?
It
And if I
happens.
do, I need to repair the best I can. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
love that. I love that you are now working for NAMI. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that's so cool. It's led to actually not just speaking for them, you're like working in a paid position with the organization, which
Yeah.
I love.
It's wild. Yeah, I got really lucky. And that it just goes to show find what you love. It's one of those another one of those cliches. And I was
Yeah.
told it, I don't know, 1,000 times in my life. Don't worry about the money, don't do this.
Yeah.
And it turns out that spending a year and a half of my life just doing what I love and doing what I care about set me up for when I will this work for everybody? Probably not, but it does. The amount of contacts that you get and the amount of people who want to take care of you and do
Yeah.
something for you when you
It's
put
true.
yourself out there
It's
just grows
true.
too. The
Yeah.
people who want to help, not in a sad way, oh, I want, they truly want to help because they see how hard you're trying.
Yeah.
They see how seriously you're taking it. And so I got really lucky finding when, as soon as I moved here, I reached out to NAMI locally and I said, I just want to help.
Yeah.
If you can put me to work, I don't have a job. I want to speak.
Yeah.
I want to help. I want to whatever. And so I got in with them there. I gave probably 4 or 5 presentations over the last handful of months, and thank goodness for what I made an impression, enough of one at least, so that when a position came open, I applied. And so I get to do now education programming for my local
Amazing.
NAMI. So I'm going to this is the weirdest thing to say. By the way, if anybody lives around here and wants to, please do it. But no, I'm so underqualified, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm actually going to be training speakers and implementing programs, and we'll actually have, I feel it like it's not just
Yeah.
me. I feel like we now have a say
Yeah.
on how we're shown and on
Yeah.
an education level. I'm just
I
so
love
excited to
that.
be able to like take the knowledge I have from other people like you, and the hopefully someday work with organizations and get the information where it needs to be into the schools, into the businesses,
Yeah.
because what people don't realize is just because you don't have a mental health, everything you and I or mental illness, everything you and I have talked about today will help.
Yep. It's true.
It'll make you a better husband. It'll make you a better partner. It'll make you a better like community member. And that's what
Yeah.
I loved that earlier. It's a community. The
It is.
only way it's all going to get better is if we accept the fact that mental illness is in every family,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
that more or less. And
And
if
you know
we,
what I read the other day that gave me hope is too, I was reading because I had to do a presentation and I was talking about how we all have mental health, but some
yeah,
of us have mental illness. But
yeah,
I read this and I always thought, oh, I'll never have good mental health because I have mental illness. But I read, I actually do have good mental health because I'm forced pretty much to do this, that, and all
exactly.
the things that keep you mentally well. Whereas there's someone that might not have a mental illness and they're not taking care of their mental health. And I was like, it felt like I'm winning for
Shaley, I
myself.
want you to know, I put up a clip today that I found in a training video on
Yeah.
YouTube. I actually clipped it out and put it on my channel. That's just because you live with bipolar doesn't mean you don't have better or more optimal mental health than somebody who doesn't live with bipolar or mental illness,
Yes.
because you're forced to do it. And so you and I were on the same page all day. So it was
Love
meant
it.
to happen.
Love it.
Absolutely. I
Meant to
yell
be.
at my dad all the time. You can ask him. I hope he watches this. He won't. But I wish he would. I have better mental health than he does. He is more like way better successfully
Yeah.
person, in pretty much every way. But that man has no idea what he's feeling at any point in time of the day and
Yeah.
doesn't know what to,
Yeah.
I
That's
got it.
like I'm surrounded by, I'm the first one in my family that sought any kind of help. And
Same.
so now things are coming out and they're coming to me, but also I come from a family of different trauma that were carpet sweepers with the different traumas in their life, right? They grew up in a time they weren't allowed to talk to it or couldn't shame their family. And yeah, that's not mentally healthy and it's coming out now. So I love that you said that and how beautiful that we can be an example.
We can be leaders in the field.
We can. And you
It's
know what? I would go
coming
far to
around.
say as we are.
I think it's coming. Yeah, you definitely are. You definitely are. But in the buildings, I think it's
Yeah.
coming around where
Yeah.
people like you hopefully people like us will get a seat at the table when they're talking
Yeah.
about treatments,
Yeah.
when they're talking about best practices, because those
Yeah.
are the voices that they need in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're the ones that know what's effective.
There's a lot
They
of
know what
doctors,
works.
there's a lot of this, but people don't realize that I wanted to hear like what it felt in people's bodies, not just a
Yes.
list of
Yes.
things. Yes.
What am I capable of? What am
Yeah.
I not capable of?
Yeah.
I asked 4 therapists that question. All of them looked at me like I was like from a different planet. No.
Yeah.
Can I get a real job?
Yeah.
Can I have a girlfriend? Can
Yeah.
I get married? Can I have kids? You know what I mean? That's why I think what you're doing is so incredible, because you're showing people like, yes, you
Yeah.
can.
You can.
Rate it.
Y'all, I have teenagers and I'm doing okay. Okay.
And you're putting out 2 podcasts a month.
I'm still, yeah. Oh, I love this conversation so much. I'm so happy. My friends here, go and follow Lee, connect with Lee. I'm excited to watch your journey at NAMI. And if we could support each other in any way, I look forward to working together, because I told you before, because now that we've had this amazing conversation and had a heart connection, you are now in the circle of besties.
Besties. That's all that matters. I'm
Yes.
always here. If you ever have a good idea or a bad idea, I'll be part of your bad idea with you too. It doesn't matter. I don't have much of an embarrassment factor anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh,
you're
I
good.
know.
I'm here for it.
I know. And I think that's important too, before I wrap up, is that put yourself out there. You said it's some of my first things, or my, like when I tried reels and I'm like my mouth isn't going with the sound at the same time. That's always awesome. But you know what? Some of the posts that I just that just come to me and I don't perfect or anything like that have been the ones that are the most powerful. I think people just want authenticity and to show up. So you really can do it. Yeah. Yeah. All right, friend. Thank you for spending this time with me.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to hanging out soon, and I will see you on the internet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Shaley.
This is Bipolar. Thanks again for tuning in. You can find video versions of This is Bipolar on our YouTube channel. We also have all our previous and soon-to-be future episodes of the podcast on Apple, Podbean, Spotify, and Google Play. We spend most of our time on Instagram at this.is.bipolar. There is a vibrant community there where we have conversations and post different ideas and different strategies, and we'd just love for you to join us there. It is so helpful if you enjoy our work or think it would be helpful to someone if you could like and share and save and follow us in all or any of those spaces. If you're a listener for the podcast, if you could leave a review, we would be forever grateful. Again, thank you for being here with us. Let's get the word out. Let's share lived experiences so that we can change the ideas that people have about bipolar and help those of us that live with it feel less alone. This is Bipolar. Thanks again for tuning in. You can find video versions of This is Bipolar on our YouTube channel. We also have all our previous episodes of the podcast on Apple, Podbean, Spotify, and Google Play. We spend most of our time on Instagram at this.is.bipolar. There is a vibrant community there where we have conversations and post different ideas and different strategies, and we'd just love for you to join us there. It is so helpful if you enjoy our work or think it would be helpful to someone if you could like and share and save and follow us in all or any of those spaces. If you're a listener for the podcast, if you could leave a review, we would be forever grateful. Again, thank you for being here with us. Let's get the word out. Let's share lived experiences so that we can change the ideas that people have about bipolar and help those of us that live with it feel less alone. This is Bipolar.